Hey guys, hope you're doing well. Today we're going to talk about the third aspect of creating a classroom management or classroom management, which is creating an effective behavior plan. There's a lot of pieces that go into creating an effective behavior plan, and so we're just going to kind of start today with just creating the rules of the classroom. So the first thing you have to understand before creating the rules of your classroom is, what is your management style? There are three different types of management styles that a teacher could be. There's the authoritarian. This is a teacher who has regulations for everything, wants to control the student's behavior, typically has lots of rules and procedures for everything that needs to be done. There's the permissive teacher. This is the teacher that has some rules, but typically just wants the kids to feel comfortable in the class. So it's not that every rule is followed. They'll address some behaviors, but not all behaviors. It's very inconsistent, and there are no expectations set for students in a permissive classroom. Now, while those first two aren't bad management styles, they definitely can produce some good quality student work. There are some things about both those management styles that students will have a hard time with. They're going to have a hard time with all the rules and procedures, and it's going to be frustrating. And they're also going to have a hard time with what are my expectations in this class. So really the best management style is what we call the authoritative management style. This teacher clearly states why things are not acceptable and then gives a reason why. Here's why I don't want you to do this in the classroom. There's always a reason behind it. So that way students understand, oh, okay, it's going to disrupt kids. I get that. This teacher is also consistent, and they're firm but friendly. Students know where this teacher stands, but also knows that they can go to this teacher if they have questions. So like I said, what we're talking about today is, how do we establish the rules? We'll get to procedures and we'll talk about that in another day, but we're going to talk about the rules. I've always felt like I've followed the policy of capturing kids' hearts. And what capturing kids' hearts states is that your students should be involved in creating the rules of your classroom. Now, this needs to happen in the first few days of class. And no matter how young the students are, they still can have some hand in creating what are the rules of the classroom. As a teacher, the younger kids, you're going to have to guide them into what is appropriate and what are good rules. It does give the kids a sense of security. However, that's not the only way you can create rules. If you want to have a set of rules before the students arrive in your classroom and let the students discuss and add to them, that is fine too. Having 4 or 5 rules for students to follow is okay if you just want to have kids discuss it instead of the kids making up their own rules. Either one works. It's just, again, your personality as a teacher. One of the biggest things, no matter if you're letting the kids help you come up with the rules or if you are establishing the rules before students arrive, is to keep the rule list short. But 4 to 6 rules is about the maximum of rules that you should have in your classroom, no more than that. Also, just when they're short, it helps the students remember them a lot better than if you have 20 rules for your classroom. Always state the rules in a positive way. Instead of saying never interrupt in our class, which is a very negative way of saying that, you could say only one person talking at a time. Don't run in the hallways. Use walking feet when in the hallways of our school. There's a way in which you can state the rules. State them in a positive way. Don't state them in a negative way. And the last thing you need to remember is making sure you're defining terms. Turn in homework on time. Well, what does that mean? What is on time? Turn in homework on Fridays. Okay, making sure that your rules are defined well and not just a blanket rule, okay? Keep hands to yourself so you don't disrupt your classmates. That's defining why we have that rule or what the rule is. Okay, so today what you're going to be working on is creating your own rules for your classroom. We're going to pretend, since you don't have students, we're just going to have you create a set of rules for your classroom. So you can click on the activity on Canvas and it'll tell you more about what you're supposed to do.